very simple question. Does America need gun control? And this question has a subjective answer, but I'll bring you my subjective answer that not only reflects my beliefs, but also reflects others who believe in not allowing people to take away our guns. But before I get into that, I'm going to provide you with an example of why gun control will not work. Ever heard of prohibition? That's a thing, you know. That's where they banned all alcohol. You know how that ended up? It was bad. It was bad. It did not work well with America. You would think that since they banned alcohol, that'd be the end of it. Well, sadly that's not the case, because people found ways to get alcohol, and they bought it illegally. So, with that being said, that didn't solve the case. And funny enough, 20, 30 years later, they're like, okay, this is a bad idea. Let's give back the right of drinking alcohol to these people, because they're obviously not going to listen to us. Now, why is this? Why does this system not work with any country? Not just with America, but with any country. If you take away a right, why won't that work? We inherently are evil creatures. We will stop at nothing until we get what we want and what we desire from this world. If they banned candy, we would buy candy illegally. I would be in that front too, because I love candy. If they banned Coca-Cola, that's just unacceptable, alright? You can't ban Coca-Cola, but if they ban Coca-Cola, you bet I'd be the one to buy all the Coca-Cola and then sell it for a reasonable price to those who need their daily Coca-Cola. But let's be serious here. Why do many Americans nowadays want gun control in this country? Well, quite frankly, a lot of incidents that occurred with someone who doesn't know how to use a gun properly, managed to kill a lot of people, a lot of innocent people. So with that being said, a lot of people are upset at this, and by golly, I'm actually really happy that they're upset, because the moment that we look at a news report that, someone died on the news, specifically a bunch of people, and we just sit there, we just go, oh well, more dead people. That is when we all should be worried about society. And in retaliation with this, people think that it'd be best that we ban guns, because if you ban guns, then how else are they going to shoot up schools? How else are they going to kill thousands of people? You can't, because you ban guns, right? I see where you're coming from, but let me tell you why it won't work. First off, when you take a gun away from a law-abiding citizen who's left with the guns, you'd think that everyone doesn't have a gun. You're wrong. Criminals have weapons. They don't care if, Trump goes, hey, no more guns. And be like, okay. Well, they will still have a gun, and you won't. So when the time comes, when someone tries to rob you or just wants to do whatever they want to you, and you have no weapons, and they do, who do you think's gonna win that battle? I hope you say it's not you, because you're definitely not gonna win that battle. Do you think an officer is gonna be at every corner? No. You think you can outrun a bullet? No. Since we are allowed to have weapons, that situation can change in a heartbeat. If that person would have had a weapon, the chances of survival of the victim could increase by a lot. Because if they know how to use the weapon, they're gonna use it. Now that we have this in perspective, we gotta realize, we gotta come up with an idea to try to help to prevent something like this. But we gotta understand that we can't completely prevent this, because it's going to happen one way or another. Lots of innocent lives are going to lose their lives because someone had the audacity to find a way to take that life or multiple lives with, it doesn't really matter what they have, just as long as they have that weapon, whether or not it's a grenade or, an AK-47 or whatever can, take lives efficiently, they're going to use that. So whether or not, someone like that has a gun, they're still going to find a way to, terrorize and take lives. I thought for a second, if we could try to think of a way to stop or to try to minimize school shootings, maybe we could try to give teachers guns? At first I thought it was a great idea, but then I wasn't really thinking straight. I really wasn't thinking straight. Teenager, adult, they can still cause damage, you know. They got a gun, and if they have a, you know, the mind of a twisted, evil criminal, then they're going to do whatever they can to kill someone, all right? It doesn't really matter whether it's a 15-year-old or an 80-year-old. They're gonna find a way, you know? You can't just blame, oh, he's a teenager, he was just confused, or you can't just blame, oh, he's just 80 years old, he's senile. No, we all have the capacity of killing and taking away many lives. We all do. If we have that thought in our mind, and we are given the ability to do that, we're gonna go through it. Doesn't matter the age. One way I do believe we could try to help in this situation is to increase the amount of paperwork and just really increase the amount of time needed to get a gun license, because really getting a car license is harder than getting a gun license. So I feel like if you did more screenings and you had more paperwork, you know, and you did everything that you can to make sure this person that you're about to give the right, well, really, we all have the right, but to give the person the ability to hold a gun and own that gun and buy a gun, then you gotta make sure he's not gonna use that gun incorrectly. Someone suggested that we should, you know, make sure they're not mentally ill, but mentally ill people is really hard to define, because you get ADHD people, you got ADD people. They're not mentally insane, but still what they have is a mental illness. But I don't think it should stop them from controlling a gun correctly. It doesn't make them think, oh, look at that person. Wouldn't it be nice if he were on the ground bleeding to death? No, absolutely not. So if we can't really put the standard of if he's mentally ill, or if that person has a mental illness, we can't give him a gun. We can't do that, because we're going to take the right from many people who are able to hold guns, but just because they have a mental illness, they can't hold a gun and they can't purchase a gun. This whole gun control thought and just conversation is very complicated. Really complicated. Both sides of the coin want the best out of their country. And, you know, of course, they have different ways of protecting their country. But at the end of the day, we have to come to an agreement of whether or not we need gun control or not. I'm with, we don't need gun control. Just banning weapons is a bad idea in general, because we take away the ability for the law-abiding American citizen to protect themselves from a criminal who does not abide by the law. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me whether or not you think gun control is needed in America, or gun control is not needed in America. Could probably start a conversation, who knows? But at the end of the day, we have to come to a conclusion to try to prevent this. But again, we can't completely stop it, but we can try to help minimize the damage from the people who are trying to terrorize and kill innocent lives.